It's my pleasure to be with you guys, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Abdullah, for joining us today. All the way from Saudi Arabia. We used to enjoy Saudi Arabia frequently, but due to the current situation, we are a bit slow. But inshallah,
Yes.
once again, we all be traveling both
You are,
sides.
you are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, I can see with us a Toastmaster Hilda Lushi. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and all the guests. My name is Toastmaster Hilda Al-Balushi, and I'm a member of 4 other Toastmaster clubs. And it's I joined because our club president, the new club, Baluchi Toastmaster Club President Khalid Jalal, he added the brochure for the meeting, and I just was interested. So I hope you all the very best. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Hilda, for joining us. Toastmaster in multiple clubs, and welcome you, Toastmaster Hilda. Now, next in line, I don't see the name, but it is Galaxy A7. Is your speaker?
Is a speaker, Mr. Raghu.
Can you unmute yourself, Guram? I just introduced you to our audience, and thanks for joining us. So, Raghu. Okay. Now we have a 2B member, but he is still a guest, a distinguished Toastmaster, DTM Anil Menon. Can you introduce yourself, sir?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I have been a Toastmaster since 2011 and a little out on a sabbatical since the Zoom business started, probably my first meeting in Zoom format. And well, let me see how it goes and then probably come back again to Toastmaster. That's how it is. So right now I'm a guest and a DTM, but well, to join Toastmasters all over again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DTM Anil Menon. Trust me, I'll put a team behind you to make sure you know how Zoom works and you join our club soon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the effort. Thank you.
Master Nagendra, please take a note and let's call him after this meeting. We have Mr. Anand. Mr. Anand, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, this is Anand. I have joined first class this one, first meeting mine. So actually, Raghuram sir has invited me, so I have joined this meeting. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Mr. Anand. Are you in Bahrain or you're from in India right now?
I am from India, sir.
Okay, you are from India. You are in India right now. Okay, thank you very much for coming. Now, next in the list, my own mentor, but she is a guest here, Toastmaster Manjula. Can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. This is Manjula Nagendra, member of the Allied Bahrain Communicators Toastmasters Club. It's always a pleasure to be among the distinguished Toastmasters and glad to be here this evening. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Manjula. Now, next I see in my list is Toastmaster Dina Mudara from Bahrain HR Professionals. Toastmaster Dina, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. So I am Dina. I'm an HR specialist at Nestle, and I'm very new to Toastmasters. I just joined Bahrain HR Professionals about maybe a month and a half ago. So I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Dina. Next, I see in the list distinguished Toastmaster Anil Panchalangi. Can you please introduce yourself, sir?
Good evening, Mr. President and Toastmasters. Thank you so much. My name is Anil Panchalangi. I'm a member of Indian Club Toastmasters. Well, I am neither a HR professional nor I've been invited. I've been seeing the message in the group for quite some time, looking at the high-profile panelists. So I just thought of connecting. I won't be able to remain live for the whole period, but we'll try to enjoy as much as I can. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, DTM Anil. Now, next in the list, I see Dr. Ali Sufi. Dr. Ali Sufi, you're a very well-known personality in Bahrain, but as a formality, may I ask you to introduce yourself to our panel? Dr. Ali Sufi.
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I cannot show you. I had a terrible day today, so I can't show my face. Thank you for inviting me. I'm just a fan of Toastmaster. All many of my friends are Toastmaster, and they're very senior. What I can say, I'm retired. Maybe if you convince me today, I will join you, and I'll be glad to even if I join. I give some good lectures to the team.
I'm sure, Doctor. Dr. Ali Sufi, can you introduce yourself to the background? So
my background, I'm actually ex-University of Bahrain. I'm associate professor at University of Bahrain, but I'm retired now. I do freelance work, and I have some project. I work with the e-government for the last 15 years as a architecture, as an ICT architect, and in the governing council. And I'm also active in some other universities. I do part-time. I do teaching and do some project work. I hope that's enough.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ali Sufi, for your.
You're welcome. You are one of my best friends.
Thank you very much. It's an honor.
You're welcome, Khalid.
Thank you. Moving next in the list, I can see Toastmaster Mohammed Ukaruddin. Toastmaster Mohammed Ukaruddin, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Mr. President, for inviting me. He is our IPP for my home club. And thank you for being over here. And I want to take some experience from this meeting. And over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ukaruddin. He's a very active Toastmaster, especially when it comes to the PR activities. Next, I can see our guest, Mr. Irfan Rashid. Mr. Irfan Rashid, if you can unmute yourself and introduce yourself to our...
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Irfan Rashid. I'm working in Al Shaya in Pottery Barn Kids as a sales manager. I am a Toastmaster in Division C, District 20. I got invitation through Faraz here, and I'm glad to join this meeting today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think we have no more guests with us right now. Let me see 1 second. I think we're done with all our guest introduction. Now moving next in our agenda, may I ask our secretary if we have received any apologies from our members?
Good evening, Mr. President and fellow Toastmasters. We have received 2 apologies from DTM Faraz Kiat and DTM Abab Ramachandran. That's all. Those are the 2 apologies that I have received for today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ananda. So with that, we have the quorum in our meeting today.
Yes, we do have a quorum today.
Thank you very much. That's great news. Now, the agenda was distributed by Toastmaster of the day. Everyone must have received it and read it. If there's any change in the agenda, please let me know, or someone can propose the agenda is in order, and someone can propose that it can be accepted as it is. Our members, please, can one of our members come forward and confirm the agenda is in order?
Mr. President, as per the agenda, there is a break before the panel discussion, but there will be a change. The panel discussion will be before the break, and we'll have the break just after the panel discussion. That would be the only change. And with that change, I propose that the agenda is in order.
Can you repeat that, Toastmaster Nagendra, the change?
The change is that the break will be after the panel discussion.
Okay, the break
just
will be
before
after the discussion, so that we save that time.
Yeah.
Okay. Can someone second the agenda with this change?
Yes, I'm Roshan, Toastmaster Roshan Lewis, second it.
Thank you very much. So with that, the agenda is accepted as is with the change of the break. Now, who works in government? Can you raise your hand? One hand I can see. Okay. I asked the question, who works in government? Because just like a government, to run a small house in order, we need to have a minister at home who is called the Home Minister. Trust me, all who are married in this meeting, they understand what I'm saying. And those who are still not married, they will come to know about it very soon. So imagine how difficult it would be to run an organization where employees come from different background, different cultures, different beliefs, and different languages they speak. Sometimes we have language barrier as well. Toastmasters International is an organization that is operating in 145 countries with 162,000 clubs around the world with 364,000 members globally. I took the statistics from the Toastmasters International website. When you look at Bahrain, which is a small island, this beautiful kingdom itself has about 75 Toastmasters clubs and an approximately 1,300 plus members only from Bahrain. Now, why I'm sharing the statistics today? Statistics is telling us something. This statistics is telling me, at least, that the people all around the world, especially in Bahrain as well, they feel it is important for them to invest on themselves for communications and leadership development. Yes, they do attend the academic qualifications, they do attend seminars, but self-development is always a continuous process. So dear audience, for those who are not familiar with Toastmasters, the founder of Toastmasters International, Dr. Rolf C. Smedley, he mentioned in his quote, where he said, a Toastmasters club that has the right sort of programs for its members do not lose its members. Why? Because they have the right program, they have the program which interests them, they have the programs which motivate them to learn, they have the programs which brings them to the next level, they have the programs which make them the leader for the future. And similarly, Mark Victor, he also said something very beautiful. He said the only waste of human resource is letting them go unused. If you have resources, if you have your employees, if they're not utilized to the full capacity, they will not be interested anymore. We, the member of Bahrain Distinguished Toastmasters Club, do not want to see this waste in our community. Therefore, we took the initiative to come forward as a group of distinguished Toastmasters and Toastmasters together to provide all possible knowledge and awareness to our members and all the interested parties who is looking and interested for the self-growth, either one-to-one basis or in the form of webinar or seminar like what we're doing right now. Especially in the era of COVID, where everybody was afraid, worried, we stick to the core values of Toastmasters International: the integrity, respect, service, and excellence. And following the guidance and the rules and the programs available in Toastmasters, we're able to support our community. Not physically because of the situation, but yes, virtually wherever it is possible. And trust me, we found virtual meetings are so beneficial that we're able to reach every single individual at any time in the day to help him for his personal needs. One of the example I would like to share, because we have members from Bahrain HR professionals here. The chartering process, or the club Bahrain HR Professionals Toastmasters Club, chartered where all the members are HR professionals. Just imagine when they get all the knowledge and they go back to their organizations and they start teaching their employees the benefits which they have learned from Toastmasters, it will change the generations. And that's what we are looking with this initiative. Another example, what I would like to share with you is the program we want to bring to our audience or interested parties. For example, which is today's program, our specialist and the panelist in HR field, they're here to share the experience with us and with our audience. Let me say once again that all of us in Bahrain Distinguished Toastmasters Club, we are working as a team. We are working as a team with all our efforts to benefit our community. Let me conclude my address with a beautiful quote from Phil Jackson, who said, "The strength of the team is each individual member, and the strength of each member is the team." When the individual work with the team, and the team is working for the individual and with the individual, that's where we get the success. So I urge you all, let's work as a team. Let's be the change we want to see in the world and in the community, and let's rise up as one. Thank you. A small change in our regular approach. Usually we have a business session, but due to the time factor today and a special program, we have excluded the business session. But I just want to tell something to our members. Please get in touch with our VP Education if you are interested to have club contest or participate in the area contest. So he prepares a list for everyone. Now it's time to invite our Master of Ceremonies, who is a member of our club, Bahrain Distinguished Toastmaster Club, and is also a member of Allied Bahrain Communicators Toastmaster Club, in short, ABC Toastmasters Club. He's an IT professional and a talented Toastmaster. He is a mentor of so many Toastmasters in Bahrain that he even doesn't know the count. Please welcome our Master of Ceremonies for today to drive the meeting to the next level. Please welcome with me Toastmaster Nagendra Sitaram. Toastmaster Nagendra Sitaram.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fellow Toastmasters, panelists, and guests, good evening. I am Toastmaster Nagendra Sitaram, your Toastmaster of the day for the meeting number 2 of the Bahrain Distinguished Toastmasters. Bahrain Distinguished Toastmasters was a vision of few distinguished Toastmasters who wanted to do something different for the Toastmasters fraternity. With an objective of being a center of excellence, the club was chartered and meets every second Saturday of the month. The theme of today's meeting, human capital, is an apt theme for the current situation where many of us have experienced difficulties at work. As per Investipedia, human capital is an intangible asset or quality not listed on the company's balance sheet. It can be classified as the economic value of workers' experience and skills. This includes assets like education, training, intelligence, skills, health, and other things employers value, such as loyalty and punctuality. And organizations have experienced extreme difficulties in retaining this human capital in the current situation. Don't you all think so? Well, let us find it out today in our meeting. As the founder of Toastmasters International, Dr. Ravsi Smedley said, ours is the only organization I know dedicated to the individual. We work together to bring out the best in each one of us, and we apply these skills to help others. Today's meeting is divided into two sessions. The first session is the education session, where our club members present their speeches, a keynote speech, and a panel discussion. The second session is the evaluation, where the project speakers receives constructive feedback from individual evaluators, and general evaluator also evaluates the entire meeting to provide suggestions for improvement. Now, would request our guests tonight to join us in future meetings and take their first step in improving public speaking skills, gain confidence, and make new friends who will support and encourage them in the journey. A meeting must start and end on time. To monitor that, we have a timer today. This Toastmaster is a senior pathologist by profession. She is the past Area 16 director, a member of Karnataka Club Toastmasters, Angel Toastmasters, and our club. To explain the timing criteria, please welcome Toastmaster Veena Nagaraj.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As timer, my duty is to time prepared speeches and keynotes, panel discussion, and speech evaluations during this meeting. For and keynote speeches, 2 minutes before the Okay. 2 minutes before the end of allotted time, I will show green background. 1 minute before the end of allotted time, I'll show the amber light, and at the end of the allotted time, red color will be shown. For panel discussion, it is 20 minutes. The allotted time is 20 minutes. At the end of 10 minutes, I will show green background, and at the end of 15 minutes, I'll show amber, and at the end of 20 minutes, I'll show red background. For individual evaluations, it is 2 to 3 minutes. At the end of 2 minutes, again green. 2.5 minutes, it will be amber, and at the end of 3 minutes, it will be red color. The speakers are given 5 to 7 minutes. At 5, it will be green, and at 6, it will be amber, and at 7, it will be red color. All the speakers are allowed 30 seconds grace period to close his or her speech, which the speaker are required to wind up their speeches. At the end of the meeting, I will the time of various speaking when called upon. When called upon. Over to Master of Ceremonies.
Thank you, Toastmaster Veena. Since English is not a native language, speaking language in this part of the world, we do need someone to monitor our grammar usage and a filler word count to help us improving our English language speaking skills. A teacher by profession who loves to inspire and motivate people. She is a member of Sri Lanka Club Symposium Toastmasters and is passionate about public speaking. Her goal is to become a world champion of public speaking one day. To provide the guidelines as a grammarian and a filler word counter, please welcome Toastmaster Amanda Rabo.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Good evening, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Today, my role as the grammarian is to pay close attention to all speakers, listen carefully to their language uses, and I take note of any misuse of the language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, and saying. Also, my role is to introduce the word of the day. Today's word of the day is perception. The meaning of the word perception is the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses. Synonyms are discernment, appreciation, recognition, awareness, etc. And also my role as the R counter is to note any overused words or filler sounds used as a crutch by anyone who's speaking during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate and interjects and well, but so you know, sounds may be or I will table my report during the general evaluation session. Back to you, Master of Ceremonies.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amanda. As mentioned earlier, a general evaluator evaluates the entire meeting. Today, we have a Toastmaster for over 15 years who started his Toastmaster journey as a Cavalier at the age of 13. But now he is a fire and safety inspector and evacuation drill instructor at the Civil Defense of Bahrain. He is passionate about public speaking and thinks this platform of Transform Toastmasters can be slide changing for everyone who is interested in public speaking. For him, Toastmaster is his addiction now. To share his role details as General Evaluator, please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Jahangir Khan.
Thank you, Master of the Ceremonies, fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, and our respected panelists who are here as guests today. Good evening to one and all. This is DTM Jahangir Khan. I am the General Evaluator for today's meeting. For the benefit of the guest, my role as a General Evaluator is to overlook the meeting from the beginning till the very end. I, along with my team members, the timer, our counter, grammarian, and individual evaluators, will be evaluating and presenting our reports towards the end. We wish you all the very best to all the role players. The meeting is going fantastic, and we look forward to have an excellent meeting ahead. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Dr. Smedley said, the unprepared speaker has the right to be afraid, and which is why Toastmasters teaches the art of preparation. Let us now move on to the main session of our meeting today. We have two prepared speeches, a keynote speech, and a panel discussion. This Toastmaster is affiliated with Toastmasters since the past 17 years. A determined, proactive, and a passionate individual who always strives to deliver the best outcome in any role he takes on, as well as leaves a trail of value, quality, and legacy to follow behind him. The founding president of Club BEST, the Bahrain Elite Speakers Toastmasters, evaluation champion of Division C, and the youngest distinguished director. Before I call the first speaker, request the assigned evaluator to read out the project objectives. Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Khurram Salman.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Master Naga, ladies and gentlemen, everybody who is here, welcome to the meeting. It's a pleasure to have everybody here. And thank you, Naga, for using a picture from 2016, making me look quite younger than I am now. My speaker in particular today is delivering speech 1 from project 1 of level 1 of the visionary communication path. And it's the evaluation and feedback speech, and his objectives are very, very simple. He has to prepare a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. The purpose of this speech for the member to present the speech and receive effective feedback from the evaluator, that is myself. The time is 5 to 7 minutes. I wish our speaker all the very, very best. I'm sure he will excel at whatever project he's taking, and I look forward to the speech and the rest of the meeting. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Khurram. Hisham has been a Toastmaster for 6 years and has been in the education and training business for 17 years. He has an incurable addiction for reading and speaking. Our first speaker today is delivering his first speech of the project 2 from the level 1 of the visionary communication path. Please put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Hisham Jifri with his speech title, Salt. Salt, Toastmaster Hisham Jifri.
Who made this pizza? Who made this pizza? Don't act like you have no perception of it. It's you who made this pizza. But I have one question for you. You made the pizza, but where's the salt? Mr. Toastmaster of the day, fellow salt seekers, good evening to you. Salt, that coarse, powdery, white substance that we sprinkle liberally over everything that we eat to take away the bland taste and give us that power and taste. For generations, salt has been valued and treasured as a commodity, and it has been the cornerstone of meals for many, many years. Speaking of many, many years, the winds of time blow across the minds of my memory, and it takes me back 15 long years ago to 2005. It's a quiet, calm, dusky October evening, and it's about 6 o'clock in the living room of a small house in a small town in a small island called Sri Lanka. Seated on the two sofas are two boys engaged in their favorite pastime, reading. Suddenly, one gets up and says, Hisham Nana, I have had enough. I can't do this anymore. I'm going to quit from KPMG and I'm going to start teaching full time. Ladies and gentlemen, that young boy was my younger brother. Now, what's ironic about that is because although he was 3 years younger to me, he was about 30 centimeters taller than me, and his hair was also about 30 centimeters longer than mine. Hearing those words coming from this strong young man was an unbelievable surprise. At that point, what he said was that the work environment in his office was simply not allowing him to settle down peacefully and contribute something of value while growing at the same time. As his elder brother, when I hear the voice of my baby brother, big and tall and strong as he may be, your mind, your heart, and your soul starts to work and you want to find a solution. So just like a contestant in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I picked up the phone and called up one of my best friends. Rashad, my younger brother Usama is in trouble. What do you think we can do about it? He wants to quit his job. And Rashad had a very simple solution. He said, if you want to solve this problem, there are three things: food, billiards, and a movie. So there we were, three young men in a small town in Sri Lanka, heading towards some shady looking activities to spend an evening. And I will never forget the movie that we went to watch. A picture paints 1,000 words, but a sound will awaken a hidden memory. The movie that we went to watch had this theme song. It starred Abhishek Bachchan and Hrithik Roshan, but to be honest, I think my younger brother was more interested in Aishwarya Rai and Bipasha Basu. The movie was Doom 2. And for those 5 hours where we sat, shared a meal, played some billiards, and then watched that silver screen was some of the most pleasant memories that I have ever spent. 3 young men with no care in the world attempting to bring some leisure into an otherwise mundane life. We left that day, and as we went back home, we had no idea where life would take us. And it took us in so many different directions. I come from a family of accountants and finance professionals. My elder brother did not complete his chartered accountancy exam. I could not complete my chartered financial analyst exams. My elder brother moved to Saudi. I moved to Bahrain. Rashad moved to the United States of America. My elder brother survived in KPMG for 5 years. I survived in KPMG for 6.5 years. My younger brother, who wanted to quit his job, survived in KPMG for 8.5 years and left KPMG as a manager. Words can paint 1,000 pictures, but one picture can really prove a point. And I want to show you something without saying much, and that is this. This is the young man who wanted to quit his job. Today, he is a respected trainer, a chartered financial analyst, and he is someone who many people look up to. He had all the tools that were required, all that was required to add a little bit of salt to give him that added punch and spice. I ask you again, who made this pizza? You made this pizza. You have everything that is needed to make a wonderful meal. All that is required is to add a little salt. So don't forget to set apart leisure time. Because as we know, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. We earn to live. We don't live to earn. Add that little bit of salt. Make sure to set apart some leisure time so that your smile will be as broad and beautiful all the days of your life. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hisham. Being able to communicate well can sometimes give you that extra edge when your organization is selecting leaders for special projects, any business or professional events. When you work on communicating well, people will notice and new avenues for opportunity might open on to you. Now moving on, 18 years in Toastmasters, the past area 47 director, served as an advisor to many socio-cultural organizations in Bahrain, has been a commentator for international sport events, many cultural and social events in Bahrain, has moderated many debates. With a master's in English literature and MBA in marketing, he works as a general manager in a private company in Bahrain. A nature lover, obsessed with country living and pets, interested in frigid Nietzschean philosophy and postmodernism. To give the projective objectives for our next speaker, may I now invite our next assigned evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Nazir Mohammed.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, for that extremely generous introduction. Our speaker is attempting the Project 3 from Level 1 Leadership Development path, Researching and Presentation. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. The speech may be humorous, informational, or any style the member chooses. The speech content and style should work well together. Time allotted 5 to 7 minutes. I wish all the very best to the speaker. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nazir. A business management graduate with experience in managing pharmaceutical and healthcare business verticals, a passionate Toastmaster who within 2 years created a niche in Bahrain Toastmasters fraternity, a Triple Crown achiever, trainer for Pathways and the current Area 2 director. Our second speaker today is delivering his level 1, project 3 of researching and presenting from the path leadership development. Please welcome Toastmaster Roshan Lewis with the speech title, The King of Fruits. The King of Fruits, Toastmaster Roshan Lewis.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day. Recently, I was sitting at home. My nephew and his friend, they were fighting. Which fruit is better? Is it apple or is it banana? That gave me a simple thought as I was preparing for my project. Let me do a research. So my dear friends, today, I'm going to present my research on the king of fruits. I know I don't want to keep any secret. I just opened it. The king of fruits, what I'm going to today is about apple. I know many of you agree it is a king of fruits, but who do not agree may change their perception after presenting my research data on this special fruit. So my dear fellow friends, let us walk in this apple garden for next 5 minutes and let us understand what is the greatest resources and greatest aspects about this wonderful fruit apple. So let's start. Always we know, normally, this proverb always we have heard, apple a day keeps doctor away. And if doctor is handsome, beautiful or nice, keep apple away. This we have heard many times. So why this apple is competing with the doctors? Let us understand. Let us start opening bite. Let me share 5 opening bites on this wonderful fruit apple. Apple is healthy and nutritious. It contains vitamin A, B, C, E, K, minerals, iron, potassium, magnesium, phosphorus, and fibers. There are over, I bet you didn't know this, there are over 7,500 varieties of apple in the world, with over 2,500 being grown in US. They are mainly classified based on their taste and color. And moreover, the science of the apple growing and apple is known as pomology. End of the session, you all will graduate in level 1 in pomology. I will give you all the information of my research. So first, let's understand, you might have walked inside the mall and beautiful fruit market and might have seen different colors of fruits. There are 3 colors based apples are bifurcated. One is red, green and yellow. There are 16 varieties of red apples. And there are 4 varieties of green apple and 4 varieties of yellow apple. So next time when you walk into the supermarket, just ask them, give me 1 kg of Cameo or 1 kg of Jonah Gold or give me 1 kg of Opal. Surely I will understand. He will ensure that you are a person who is doing a pomology in your career. That is the different types of fruits are available in apple. These are the 3 types in the 3 varieties. Now, my question, where these apples are grown? You'll be surprised. I know even you might not have done research. China is a #1 country growing these apples in globally. It has grown around 41,000 metric tons in last year, followed by European Union, then United States, then Turkey. And you can see the 5 pictures here. These are the most 5 preferred fruits global survey. In that, apple is one. Apart from apple, there's banana, tomato, and watermelon and grapefruit. So apple is one of the most preferred fruit globally. So my dear friend, the curiosity, you may ask me, you've seen all the types of fruits here. You may ask me, what are the healthiest apple varieties? Answer, all apples are healthy. But as per the nutrition chart, some apple occupy top list and some occupy in the bottom list. So the red, which you see quite often, the red delicious, this is the most nutritious apple and healthiest apple, followed by Granny Smith, which is yellow, and Gala Fuji, which is a red apple, and Jonah Gold, which is yellow apple. And the next question may come in your mind, what are some of the sweetest apples? Yes, you might have seen in supermarkets, Fuji name. Fuji is the most sweetest apple. In life, sweet and sour and tart, it's a part of life. So you may ask, is there any apple which is tartar? Yes. There's a one apple, the yellow apple, green apple, which is known as Granny Smith, is the most tartest apple. Now, where is the use, you can ask me? Next time, when you're baking, you want to use apple, please use this green apple. This apple name is known as Granny Smith. So now with all these details, why I'm competing with the doctor, Apple may ask. Now I'll give you the 10 benefits of apple here, which clearly makes this apple the fruit king of fruits. Number one, apples are nutritious. Apples are high in water and fiber, so it is always used for weight loss. Apples good for your heart, soluble fibers and polyphenols, which has an antioxidant, which helps to control blood pressure as well as protects from stroke and cardiac disorders. Linked with low risk of diabetes because it is fully fiber and less carbohydrate, so it is advised even in diabetes. They may promote good gut bacteria. In our gut, in stomach, we have good bacteria also, which is very, very important. The apple facilitates growth of this good bacteria. Substances in apple may be helpful in cancer treatment. There is a research from PubMed Center, which is one of the important research journal, which says, the research conducted, which says apple helps in controlling and also benefiting the people who are suffering with cancer. And also, apples help in fight asthma. In apple, there is a flavonoid called quercetin, which regulates the immune system. And apples are good for bone health. Apple may protect against stomach injury and from NSAID. NSAID nothing but painkillers which you and me take every time we have pain. So it affects your stomach inner lining. Apple may protect that. And apples may protect your brain, which stops the decline of healthy neurotransmitters in brain. These are all from research. So now why I'm a king? Because I'm healthy. This is a version of apple. And I'm nutritious. And I'm equivalent to medical benefits, and I'm tasty, and you can use me everywhere, including eating, spice, sauces, vinegar, everything you name, I am present. That is why, without any competition, apple is becoming king of fruits. The final bite, not only science, health, medicine. If you take apple, it has a history also. It started from Adam. Eden got an apple eaten by Adam. There are 5,000 years, tombs have been shown that slices of apples were preserved. Even Newton, mainly, if apple has been referred in his Newton's theory also. So my dear friends, finally, without any contest, the apple becomes the fruit of king of fruits. So next time, when somebody asks you, apple a day keeps a doctor away. If doctor is good, handsome, and nice, don't keep apple away. Sit and eat that apple with your doctor. Over to you, TM Modi. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Roshan. A professional with over 2 decades of experience in business operations, human resources and administration, corporate affairs, purchases, and contracts. Having associated with IT, manufacturing, supply chain, and FMCG organization, he understands the need of core business to frame policies and thus being a strategic partner. He has successfully led several greenfield projects and operations in India, Southeast Asia, GCC, and African countries. Our keynote speaker today is going to share with us how human capital is important at all times. Please welcome Mr. Raghuram Mokshagundam.
Thank you, TMOD Nagendra Sitaram. Thank you very much for inviting me to the first Toastmasters International. It's an honor for me, and I'm very happy to be part of this program. Well, I had chosen about 3 topics. What are the challenges that a HR professional will undergo while operating in different geographies? So I had worked in India. Out of the 30 years of my experience, perhaps I have spent close to about 20 years in India and 10 years at the rest of the world. So when I moved out of India, typically in India, I had handled several organizations, be it manufacturing, IT, ITES, or startups. And when I moved out of India to a geography called Africa, I think that is when I started realizing how tough it would be for a professional to get adjusted to an environment in Africa. So this was in West Africa, that is in a country called Nigeria. When I got an opportunity way back in the year 2012, I had not even known that there was a country like Nigeria, number one. I had only known Nigeria for wrong reasons, be it smuggling or be it for drug trafficking. But when I landed there, the whole perception changed. It was one of the beautiful places that I had been and I had lived. And when I moved to Nigeria, the only advice that was given to me by one of my senior colleagues was, Raghu, just pack whatever you have gained till now as a knowledge, but see how best you can operate in this geography. Try to understand the geography and then operate. So the first thing I did was to take confidence of my team. I had a team of all the locals there, and the moment I introduced myself and then pitched in with them and understand their psyche, how to gel with them, in a matter of about 15 to 20 days, I became very close to them, and it was a fantastic experience then on. For the next 3 years, they stood by me like a rock, and they supported me at every whatever I tried to do. They were always there with me. So few of the challenges that I came across in Nigeria was an absenteeism. How do I control the absenteeism? Because in that country, the only thing I came across was poverty, wherein when I visited few of my colleague residences, there was no power, there was no water. And I was wondering why my team is always coming late to work. When I realized that this could be one of the causes, I had to address them how to combat with this and ensure why it is important for one to attend the work on time. And also, there were quite a lot of instances wherein they never used to inform about whether they are going to be present, or we keep guessing whether the team member is going to come for the day, or I will have an absenteeism which will affect the productivity of the organization. So in order to do that, I had to educate them in such a way that why we need to be on time, what is the importance of being at work. I had to start these basics, and that is how the whole scenario changed. And within a short span of about 2 to 3 months, I ensured that our team gets this whole message in such a way that I had never come across any further instances of late coming or absenteeism. But there was another very important thing I would like to inform in those geographies, that for them, they live for the day. That means they're not worried about, without any reason, they used to send the resignation letters. When I asked them, what is the reason why you are resigning? Then the strange answer that I used to get was there were several problems within their families. I felt it is very strange. When there are problems, you need to address it, but not quit the job. Why do you want to quit the job? Because it will not give you the benefits, or it will not give you the comfort that with which you can live. So these were some of the things which I had to address while I was in Africa. But when I came back to India again with a startup, there was a big change. The change was, how do I work with youngsters? Let's say I had worked with several manufacturing setups, and the age group was anywhere between 30 to 50 years. But when I joined a startup, that is when I came across a CEO who is even aged at 28 years to whom I was reporting into. So these kind of challenges for a HR professional is something which will be very unique. And I strongly recommend how we can ensure that the best practices in HR can be implemented in such organizations where the process and systems have to be put in place. For example, I managed to go to a country called Ethiopia in the year 2018, and Ethiopia got me a completely different challenge. I went to Ethiopia in October 2018, and that is when, within a matter of about a month, I was an authorized signatory for most of the documents that used to come for my signature. The very first document came to me was had a invoice which was dated the year 2011. I said, I'm in the year 2018. Why an invoice dated 2011 is coming to my signature? That is when I realized that country is about 7 years behind the normal calendar that we follow. And even the time zone in Ethiopia was totally different. The labor laws were different. Apart from the geographical challenges, the labor laws played a different role for me, wherein one cannot ensure that the separation, for example, an exit of an employee had become very challenging. The reason is you cannot, even if it is indiscipline or even if it is integrity issue within an organization, it is extremely tough because the labor laws in Ethiopia is such that you have to take all these things to a labor court and then contest for a separation. This was a bit strange for me. And that is how the country was, and we had to respect the law of the land, and I had to deal with that. So that was a unique experience which I wanted to share with all of you. My second topic is what are the challenges for HR in pre and post COVID? I guess we never realized that COVID situation will change the HR scenario for most of the professionals. We were running the normal cycle of appraisals and business plans, which we had to rework post COVID, which came in India sometime in this year during March. So once we decided that, okay, we will all work from home, that is when our challenges started coming. We never had the challenge of communicating. Communication itself became a challenge because most of our employees had already relocated to their own locations, be it their native. Some of them went into some remote locations without connectivity. So how do we ensure that the communication and the information flow is reaches every level within the organization? So these challenges came into play when we realized that we have to build a very strong database of network within our organizations. The database has to be strong. We have to capture every minute information of the employees that we enroll with, and the onboarding process. We had to still do the recruitments. The onboarding process had to be virtual, and that is how we have been managing the show even now. Whereas I saw a completely different scenario in a manufacturing setup. When we distinguish, there is a sea difference between a tech organization as well as the manufacturing setup. In a manufacturing setup, particularly be it a food processing industry or the healthcare setup, I think when I talk about healthcare, it could be a pharma setup. The employees are working as normal as they are because, of course, maintaining the social distance as well as the precautions that one has to take. I saw that everything was working very normal, but I had several information coming down from the tech organizations wherein there was a mandate, there were global mandates from their parent organizations that, okay, let's work from home. So I was constantly taking updates from these organizations, what made them to take those decisions, whereas a manufacturing setup is functioning very normally. Yes, there are healthcare industries which definitely operate under an air-conditioned environment, and that is when there could be a transmission of COVID or other kind of diseases. But unfortunately, we did not come across any major situations where we need to handle this COVID situation. Yes, constant checks were done by the team, and we ensured that there was absolutely no issues within the organization, and that is how the whole industry is currently running. So when it comes to the manufacturing sector, I think they're all doing extremely well. That is how I would like to put across in India. Added to this, the Indian government, under the able leadership of Mr. Narendra Modi, has introduced the Atmanirbhar Bharat. That is, let us start manufacturing whatever that is essential within the country. Let us encourage the local manufacturing industries. So these schemes have helped industrialization to grow to a maximum effort in India, and quite a lot of industries have come in play. And now I would like to touch upon the third topic. What is the future of HR? I guess it would be mostly remote. The reason is there are decisions that have been already taken by large organizations, particularly from the tech sector, that they will continue to work from home. Whereas there have been results showing that the productivity part has seen considerable increase. The reason is the initial period of about 6 to 8 months post-COVID. I guess there were challenges because most of our homes or workplaces were not designed to be an actual workplace. The virtual meetings, which everybody had to do, had several challenges, be it network or other issues at home, did not permit them to work effectively. But I guess right now the situation has completely changed. Everybody seems to be very comfortable operating from their homes, and at the same time they got adjusted to the routine, and things are moving at a great pace. So looks like the future of HR is how do we ensure that the culture of the organization doesn't affect the performance or the the values of the organization. So virtual onboarding and the trainings which we have been doing, I guess, has been taken a great success. Quite a lot of trainings have been conducted in the past 8 months, ever since the COVID situation has taken place, and things are going at the right in a right direction. So with this, I would like to end my speech. Over to TMOD, Mr. Nagendra Sitaram. Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Raghuram for that insightful presentation. Now let us quickly get into our panel discussion. To moderate the panel discussion, we have our Toastmaster Roshan Lewis as the moderator. Please welcome Toastmaster Roshan Lewis.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. So, my dear friends, we had a wonderful session by a guest speaker, Mr. Raghuram Mokshanandam. And it's my pleasure to invite all our panelists for this wonderful session of panel discussion. I have three eminent panelists with me, along with the speaker. As Mr. Raghuram clearly highlighted beautifully, his challenges in Africa, how to connect and operate in all the situations, and also what was COVID era time, how to manage and work, and his suggestions and his challenges. So now that there are two panelists are joining with us. Let me start introducing them to you all. Our first panelist is sorry for that technical glitch. Can you see my screen?
No, we can't.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, so our first panelist is Ms. Nawfal Suwaidi. With over 19 years of experience in human resources across 7 industries, ranging from the public sector to several financial institutions to telecom, finally aviation. Instrumental in the establishment and restructuring of HR departments and policies in addition to suit best practices in the HR field. Recently founded a Right Size. I love this organization name, Right Size, the advisory firm aiming to assist small and medium enterprises. Throughout her career, Nof has been active in her community, educating and mentoring university students to enhance their personal profiles and improve their employability skills. She was associated with Gulf Air, Standard Chartered brand, and Zain, one of the most premium companies of Bahrain. Welcome you, Ms. Nawfal Suwaidi, for this panel discussion. A pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have our second panelist, Mr. Saleh Yusuf Al Ansari, a corporate management strategy and human resource professional for over 14 years. Provided strategic consultation to various organizations in Bahrain, including BAPCO, Tamkeen, Arabian Gulf University, Ministry of Interior, SIO, etc. List is long. At present, is a strategic planner for EVA Bahrain. Acquired various professional certificates, including ROI Institute USA, the KPI Institute Australia, etc. He is also a partner in Vigilance Consulting. And one of the most important things which struck when I saw his biodata, he gives a lot of importance to education. Even now, he is doing his PhD. So we welcome Mr. Saleh Al Ansari to this session as our panelist.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it for having me there.
Yeah, so let's start our discussion. We have first question from the audience. Mr. Khalid Jalal asked this question: what alternate strategies organizations can think, take in current era instead of downsizing? The question is open for you. Anybody wants to answer, or you all of three can add your values. It's open. I repeat the question. What alternate strategies organizations can think or take in current era instead of downsizing?
So can I take this question? Raghuram Mokshagundam here.
Yes. After that, I'll move to Mrs. Now.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. See, as HR, I think we need to create an ecosystem. When I say echo, that stands for ECO. Empathy, communication, and organize. If we do these three things, there is no need for any organization to downsize. When I say why we should not be downsizing at this point in time is very simple. For example, if we take a manufacturing industry, right now the situation is that how do we ensure that we run the whole operations in shifts? Can we ensure that at least let them, if they have to earn about 50% of their wages, can they come in shifts so that they earn that money for at least about 15 working days, right? So instead of downsizing the whole, let's say 2,000 people within an organization, if 1,000 resources can come in shifts, then we need not downsize any individual. So let us continue the employment by at least ensuring that 50% of the wages that they get paid, and may not, they could even go with loss of pay for the balance 50% if the situation is very critical. But at the same time, I would like to highlight here that downsizing is definitely not a solution. The industry is gearing up, for future demands. I think if I have to take example of an FMCG organization, nobody is going for shopping to any malls at this point in time. Everybody is getting on to the online shopping. So if I look at organizations like Amazon, they have gone ahead to hire extra resources within their organization to gear up for the Christmas and the New Year. So I don't think downsizing is the solution at this point in time. Organizations have to, most of the industries have to have some patience and move on from here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Raghuram. Your solution for downsizing, don't cut the heads, but cut the package, 50%. That's what I think. Yeah. Hey, thank you. Ms. Noof, you want to add in this? Anything?
Yes, thank you. I was going to say pretty much the same thing. Although there are labor laws to consider here. As you know, I mean, I was still with Gulf Air at the time of COVID. I only left them about 2 months ago. And although I cannot disclose what strategies we did follow, we were researching the possible options at the time. Basically, in order to get people to agree to a pay cut, as Mr. Raghuram has indicated, you need to involve them in the communication process from the very beginning, get them engaged with you so that they will do anything that you say in order to save the company. There are voluntary unpaid leave schemes that can be introduced. And that, I mean, there's always this threat, and you don't want to call it a threat, but there's always this threat of a downsizing if something doesn't happen. So people worried about their jobs would most likely opt for temporary pay cut in the form of unpaid leave, or let's say the 50%, the shift basis that Mr. Raghuram has suggested. We also explored some options of, we had to research basically all the countries and what kind of support schemes they have for employees in times of crises. And there are some countries that have, I mean, you know, of course, we have wide geography, about 28 countries that we covered. And so there were a lot of options that are given by the government. As you know, the government of Bahrain has given a good scheme for companies to stay afloat. And these are definitely much better than cutting heads. And I agree, it's not an option because this is a temporary situation. Although the reason I did start Right Size is because people now are becoming conscious of the size of their organizations and whether they, in light of the conditions that we're in now, I mean, we're in an online meeting, and this is something that can be done, and people didn't think that it could be done. You can work remotely, you can meet people, you can have conferences. So people are becoming more conscious of the size of their organization. So if there are cuts, it's not really about the COVID or the current crisis. It's a more longer term sustainability kind of option.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Now, for your valuable feedback on that. Mr. Saleh, you want to add on this anything?
Yeah, thank you so much. From my point of view, I think actually we have to look at the issue from a strategic point of view. First of all, for how long this downsizing should last? Secondly, does the organization will survive even if I cut the cost and optimize all of the asset utilization and all of these resources restructuring and all of this? Would it survive even if it stayed for that long? And for how long would it be a solution? Because actually most of the operational actions that we take, it's considered, as Ms. Knopf said, this is a very temporary solutions. We can't rely on it for so long. You know, we have an economy or the macroeconomic solutions, or maybe even perceptions. We have something that's called the value of death. It's applied in the maybe small, medium enterprises and entrepreneurships and all of these stuff, but it's viable also for the big enterprises. The value of death is considered as a pitfall that the organization is going through. You know, Winston Churchill said once, if you go through hell, keep going. Don't stop. If you are moving or walking through hell, just keep walking until you get out. I hope so, we get out, inshallah. But especially with COVID era right now, with COVID, things are moving permanently. It's about having a new normal. So first of all, if I do downsizing first, I have some strategic hazards or maybe some strategic concerns that has to be raised up prior to any downsizing initiatives or even cost cutting or whatever. First of all, we have to identify the knowledge, skills, and ability status of the organization. If I will do any downsizing or restructuring of positions or pay scales or whatever, I have to make sure that for how long? Number two, the affected knowledge, skills, and abilities. If I will reduce the packages for even a month, 2, 3, 10, and the pandemic may last for more than this period, most of my talents would fly over. So what I will have for having a downsize or reducing the packages for what I will perceive as, let's say, saving the whole ship, what I'll find out that the most talented people will sail off, will go away. And I will remain with the liability employees, not the asset employees. Those who are cost centers, not those who are profit centers. So before taking any of these initiatives, I have to run a very, let's say, detailed diagnostic test to diagnose the status of the organization and the state of any human capital readiness in it. If I have the readiness of the human capital, then I can do or take decisions that may serve the general purpose of the organization.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I love that phrase, what you said, downsizing and resizing. So you take your parameters on asset and liability. I love that. So we have a second question from DTM Jahangir Khan. How important would be leadership at the firms during this time for employer morale and confidence, especially once in Bahrain? How important would be leadership at the firms during this time for employee morale and confidence? I start with Ms. Nof. Shall I repeat the question?
No, it's okay. I got it. Yeah, leadership is extremely important at this time. And I did mention, you have to involve people in the communication process from the very beginning. They're living in uncertain times. They're looking at the world around them, and there are people getting laid off left, right, and center. And if you don't do something to ease their morale or pick it up, or at least give them some assurances, they will be working to survive and just worried about their employment status, rather than actually trying to help you get out of this crisis and improve your, let's say, productivity or business results. Communication. I cannot stress it enough. They need to know what you're thinking. They need to know what you're planning to do and what have you done. You need to share whatever little successes that you've achieved during this period, because it's very important to celebrate these, and they're very few and far in between. But also what failures, what risks, what threats you face. Transparency is always the key, and this is the leadership's role. It's highly there's this misconception that HR has to do all this communication and HR has to manage people's morale. No, it's your job. You, the leader, the top of the hierarchy, it's your job, not ours.
Yeah, I understand. In this situation, HR comes as implementation and follow-up rather than decision-making. So leader should always, what I take from your message is that transparency, communication, and create a confidence with the team so that what action should be taken. That's a great message. Let me move to Mr. Saleh on this. It's a Bahrain scenario. Then I'll come back to Mr. Raghuram on India, and you have worked in GCC also. What is your perception? Before that, let me move on to Mr. Saleh.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate what Ms. Nof said. She emphasized on the communication, and I really retweet what she has said. I'd love the communication part of it, but or yet I emphasize on having something that we have to redefine what does leadership mean in this era. Most of the people, they said when they become leaders or assigned in a leadership position, they said, those who work for me. No, those who work with you. If you believe that those people who works with you, you will have several roles of this leadership responsibility, which is first, making their life easy. Not all of your employees or those who works with you, not all of your team members has their home setups for working from home. What you have done to make their life easy? This is first question. Second question, have you communicated all of the mandates and start to shift from managing with the traditional job descriptions to managing by objectives and make more spacious and freedom to employees to work according to their own free time. They have kids to teach, they have family to feed. So they have free time to work with, and they have their liabilities toward the work. So what I have done as a leader to make their life easy in terms of delivering their accountabilities and responsibilities toward their organization that we work all together with. And moreover, we have to consider on one more thing, as keeping them updated, as Ms. Nof said. They have to be up to date to understand the penetration, the contribution towards the big picture. Moreover, have I, as a leader, or myself or our other colleagues, have they foster and enable their working environment to work remotely efficiently? Do they have the right resources at home? Do they have the speed of internet suitable to work? Do they have the information infrastructure that will enable them to work as efficient as they are at work? It's not about their time and they have to punch in at 7 o'clock in the morning to show up on Zoom or what do you call it, whatever the platform that they are using. No, we are talking about an enablement factor that could distinguish leaders from others. I have one final statement over here. It says, managers are busy, leaders are productive. And thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Saleh. Lovely is closing your done with very effective statement. And coming to Mr. Raghuram, so Bahrain or India, can you summarize briefly on this issue?
Sure, Roshan. Thank you for that. I will go back to the three-letter word, ecosystem. I think the leader has to create that kind of an ecosystem wherein the empathy, the communication, and the organization ability has to be in place at all levels. I guess during the time of crisis, it is the leader who will stand and deliver. It could be even in a sport wherein I go back to the 1983 Cricket World Cup, which India won. I think it was Kapil Dev who single-handedly, as a captain of the team, ensured that we qualify for the finals. When we were down, almost, I guess it was about 30 runs on the board with 6 wickets had already gone against a country called Zimbabwe. That is when Kapil came and thrashed the Zimbabwean bowlers and scored 175 not out and won the World Cup for India against the mighty West Indies. Kapil played a very significant role then. So I relate this to the leader. And here again, when a captain of the ship sees that there are tremendous tides within a sea, and he is the one who will ensure the safety of all the inmates, that is how I relate a leader. That is when the leadership qualities come into play, and that is how the whole situation gets a smooth sailing. That is how I would like to put it into. That is the quality of a leader. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What I understand for this question, all three people from different area, but your main point is same. It's a leadership matters. So even in my personal area, I always felt during my professional growth, management is not managing people, it is managing process. When you start managing people, it may have a lot of this thing, but when you process, which you create and work, everything runs smoothly. That comes ownership on leaders' shoulders. Thank you very much for that. We have a next question from DGM Isham Jifri. In this era of automation, technological advances and artificial intelligence, what do you feel are the three most important transformational skills needed by the employee of the future? So in this situation, what are the three most important transformational skills needed from employees for the future? Can Mr. Saleh, can you add it in this? Start with you.
Thank you so much. Actually, I really love this question as long it's tied with education and learning. We have the first thing we have to understand in this context, from my point of view, is that the ability to learn. You can ride the horse to the river, but you can't force it to drink. Am I able to learn? Am I open to learn from others? The main thing is that the ability to learn. This is the first key skill in this context. Secondly, is knowing where to learn from. For instance, at work, we have to make sure that us as a strategist and let's say maybe from different backgrounds, HR, IT, strategy, whatever, we have to make sure that we assign mentors to these fresh ones or even the skilled ones in the middle and the line management. Without guidance, people can do any improvisations will be there on the site, and what we can result in is unplanned results. If you fail to plan, you'll plan to fail. Regarding the digitization or digitalization or digital transformation, we have three contexts in this context. Three contexts within this context about information technology. We have to understand the first of all, the third skill is that to master the processes. There is a very famous statement that says, when you master the process, you master the business. For any fresh graduate, for any person who's willing to advance in his career, especially with IT or without IT, digital transformation, just call whatever you call it. We have these key three skills. First of all, be learnable. Second thing, find the right source and type of learning. Most important is about how to let's say, maybe I can restate it, is about how to plan the learning adaptability or implementation and site. So that's the overall dimension. Maybe I can contribute. We can leave it to the others.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Nauf, your suggestion.
Just to add on to what Saleh said, I mean, I can't really narrow it down to three. I mean, but I can give you the top two that came to mind. Definitely the data analysis, because everything is going to be data driven. I believe analytical thinkers and data analysts are the jobs of the future, or the skills for the future. But in terms of soft skills, I believe agility is a very important skill to have. The ability to adapt to different the changes in the environment, and they are fast, and things are happening every day in every industry that requires someone to move from one mindset to the other fairly quickly. I've read about the fourth industrial revolution, and it also has to do with the digital transformation of the future, and how people are worried about being replaced by machines. But it's just there are different jobs that are going to be available than there are now, but there are jobs. Being artificial intelligence and data analytics are the top two skills that are required going forward.
Thank you. Mr. Raghuram, your views on this question?
I go with my co-panelists, and I guess one of the points that came to me, I recently read about a place somewhere in a mall in Japan. I guess there are no front office, or there is nothing called somebody to guide. There is a robo which is helping every person coming into the mall and guiding them where they would like to go. That is being very common in most of the geographies now. And yes, these are some of the transformations that we are going to see down the line. Even today, if you look at most of our transactions happen with our mobile phone. So this is going to be the future, and everybody is enjoying that kind of the human interface, or the lack of communication between two individuals may drastically come down. That is the future. So we may have to adapt to those changes and operate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Time is up. Lovely discussion, great speech. This is what essence of Bahrain Distinguished Toastmasters. We bring great veterans in a different field and collect them and get today the 30 minds what in this Zoom room ignited by you all. So take home message is very simple. Any situation in organization structure, leadership matters. The transparency matters. The process matters. And the communication matters. And the what steps they take with all this, that matters. But still, before ending, I leave with one question. We all know human resource is very important. There is a one resource, one capital, human capital, gets all resources for the organization. But still, when axing happens, first the human resource gets axed. That remains standard. With that note, with that question, I keep it that question in all of your minds. And with that, thank you very much. Back to from panel discussion studio to our Toastmaster of the day. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, moderator, and all the panelists for that wonderful insights and helping us to understand the nuances of human capital. I know that we have a break. Sitting in front of a screen for long needs break in between to regenerate our senses. But do we have a time? Can we continue, finish off the meeting rather than have a...
TMOD, can we just present the certificates?
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, for the guest panelists.
Okay. it's now time to recognize our panelists for that insightful awareness. Please accept this certificate as a token of appreciation for your panel discussion today. Ms. Novaidi, Mr. Raghuram Mokshagandam, and Mr. Saleh Yusuf Al-Ansari. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, you can continue to be in the meeting and see what the evaluations happen. So now it is time to know what we have done. Feedback is always essential for determining which experiments that we did have succeeded and which have failed. Today we have that one person who is here to offer us the real advice and provide us feedback as to where we failed miserably and where we did well. To pass his valuable feedback, join me to welcome our General Evaluator, Distinguished Toastmaster, Jahangir Khan.
Thank you, Master of the Ceremonies, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. Good evening once again. And let me tell you something really funny, which was happening for the past 1 minute. I was looking for my mask because it was my turn. We are so much into it that we have to wear a mask. I was running around looking for my mask. Oh, that's the time. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, I will begin my general evaluation. First of all, I would request our timer, Toastmaster Veena Nagaraj. Can you please share with us the time taken by the prepared speakers and for the panel discussion and the keynote speech, please? Toastmaster Veena Nagaraj.
Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmaster and distinguished guests, the first speaker, Toastmaster, he has taken 7 minutes, 12 seconds. Toastmaster Roshan has taken 7 minutes, 56 seconds. And our keynote speaker, Raghuram Mokshagandam, has taken 16 seconds. And the panel discussion overall, it took 23 minutes, 7 seconds. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Dr. Veena Nagaraj, for your report. Mr. President and the Master of the Ceremonies, we should be having the voting for the best speaker towards the end. That's right.
No, we don't have voting today, sir.
We
There
don't
is one
have the voting?
qualification, Roshan.
Yeah.
Okay.
7 minutes.
Due to that. Okay. We will leave that to the time disqualification is there, but we will keep that for the evaluator. Thank you, Dr. Veena. Let us begin. Fellow Toastmasters, the meeting started on time. That is 7:30 p.m. May I request everyone to please put your Thank you. So the meeting started 7:30 p.m. The best part was the meeting room was open 30 minutes before, which is really good. And I really encourage for all the clubs, we are having the virtual space, virtual meeting these days. It's good to know each other, the panel, the guest panelists we were having. It was open for the discussion for the members to get to know each other. So good job with that, Mr. President. The meeting started. Dr. Veena Nagaraj, our Sergeant at Arms, introduced. 1 minute of silence was given for late Royal Highness Sheikh Khalifa, which was required. Very well done with that. Sergeant at Arms read out the rules which we have to follow. The briefings were given, and then was the introduction of the President. The guest introduction, very warm, welcoming, and always very welcoming gesture from the club president, DTM Khalid Jalal. Madam Secretary mentioned about the apologies and checked the quorum and approved. The agenda with the changes was approved. There was one change in the agenda, which was mentioned by the VP Education. Then coming to the presidential address, very well structured, with humor, message, appreciation, and as always, linking it to the mentioning about the founder, the movement of Toastmaster International, and like always, Toastmaster DTM Khalid Jalal, ending up with the importance of the teamwork and encouraging the club to move forward as one team. Before I move forward to the other role plays and how everything proceeded, I will be going forward to the individual evaluators. Today we were having two speakers. Our evaluator number one for speaker number one, distinguished Toastmaster Hisham Jeffrey, is our very own DTM Khurram Salman. May I please request him to present his speech evaluation. DTM Khurram Salman.
Thank you, General Evaluator, ladies and gentlemen, and my speaker, Toastmaster Hisham, in particular, a very warm good evening to all. Now, what I really like about Toastmaster Hisham Jeffrey's speech, anytime that he's presented, is that he's a visual storyteller. The anecdotes and the use of language and the effective use of stage, even though it's coming across in a visual video platform, is still very effective, to the point that you can actually imagine the sceneries and be with him in this speech. So I wanted to start with that, the visual imagery that he creates, the use of words, the anecdotes, and all of it is absolutely brilliant. And I commend Toastmaster DTM Hisham on that, and I recommend him to keep that on the up and up. Now, his speech in particular was very simple. He had to pick a topic and deliver a speech on basically anything that he chose. And what a topic he chose. It was a story throughout, and I really loved how everything came together at the aha moment. He started off with showing us an uncooked pizza, and I've not had my dinner yet, so pizza is what I'm thinking, definitely. And he started by asking a question. So a pizza, salt, I mean, right off the bat, the topic, salt itself is very catchy. What are we talking about? How is it coming together? And I loved how he took through the story with his amazing storytelling skills and brought it together with set aside leisure time. And such a simple conveying of the message, something that is need of the hour in times where we're all burning ourselves out. So in terms of his content that he had written was absolutely brilliant. The way he delivered was effective. We got the message loud and clear. So overall, on that part of things, everything was very well done. I have a couple of points of improvement, and we are the DTM club, so of course we're not going that easy on anybody, and we shouldn't. But you know, don't worry, brother Sham, you're good enough anyway. The only thing that I would recommend, and this could be just me, and it could be very personal, and it could be because of my OCD as well. The blackboard or the whiteboard that you had in the back, that was a bit distracting to me. I mean, it served no purpose, but it was yet there in the frame. So I would recommend if you can just angle yourself in a way that that's not there. And when you were coming up to closer to the camera, we could notice that you are looking at two screens and your eyes were moving away from the camera to like a side place that was right next to the camera. And if you were looking at something, that's okay, but I would recommend you to minimize that as much as possible, so that to me was a bit distracting, because I could look at you looking at me and then looking away from me as well. So if we can minimize that and your attention could be just at the camera, that would really help as well. And one thing that I've been waiting to tell you, and I'm so glad that I got this opportunity to evaluate you as well, facial expressions. I believe your body language is absolutely perfect. The way you speak your words is absolutely good. But throughout your speech, I never see a smile. I never see your eyebrows going up. I never see anything happening to your face except the expression that you have. So I would really recommend you to work on your facial expression. So it's more or less the delivery aspects that I wanted to work on. And depending on the time, it was 7:12. Some additional quotes from businessmen and leaders in the world could have added more weightage to your speech. Overall, I think you did an excellent, amazing job, and I commend you and look forward to your further speeches as well. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, DTM Khurram Salman. You're very well done with the evaluation. Yes. Regarding I will come to the feedback for DTM Hisham and DTM Roshan later on for the speakers. Our next evaluator is DTM Nazir. May I please welcome DTM Nazir for the evaluation of DTM Roshan.
Good evening once again, everyone, and thank you, General Evaluator, for inviting me. King of fruits. here I would like to make an analogy that to call the speaker as the king of speakers. Because throughout the speech, I felt that great confidence, great confluence, great convergence, and a resounding message through a particular focus on the content. Clarity of thought also was always, all along, it was present. Initially, I thought that it was about durian, or some Indonesian fruit, which is considered as the king of fruits, or mango, which are a national fruit of many countries. But the audacity of the speaker was evident when he challenged apple as the king of fruits, and he said that to the audience that, okay, I'm going to challenge that, and you might oppose, but again, I'm going to prove that it is the king of fruits. So that approach was very audacious, and also he had gone through that very well till the end. He had gone through the different aspects of the speech was in between opening bite and the final bite. Apart from the house scenario where his nephew was fighting for which fruit with his friend. So he brought that scenario and argued upon throughout the speech to establish the king of fruit as apple. And also he had taken lots of technical terms as well, pomology, but that is what the apple is all about, I mean, study of apple. So there are lots of information. That's what I said in the beginning, that rich in content. And he had given us the health and health benefits, medicinal values, and even it can cure many diseases. And also he had touched upon the Adam and Eve, which I thought means he might forget, but again, he connected with that, and to the Newton's theory as well. And also, I think, we learned the first alphabet through Apple. So there itself, Apple is connected to all of us, our lives. And I think throughout the speaker was so confident, like, wrestling, like he was not even taking back. He was pointing out, asking questions, explaining. I mean, it was full of jovial with lots of energy throughout the speech. As an evaluator, it is a duty to just recommend something. One thing which I felt that the pace was a bit, little on the fourth gear or fifth gear, I would say, because lots of content, lots of information, and like, for instance, when you had said 10 benefits of this one, 10 benefits to list out in 2 minutes, it's going to be a very hectic job. And to grasp that as well, might take a while for the audience. So that such rich content, I think, needs to be a little more time frame presentation. Apart from that, and even you are very conversational throughout the speech. The conjunction, the interjunctions, what you are used were in conformity with the context and conformity with the content and the delivery. It's an excellent speech. Congratulations for completing that project in great style, the king of speakers. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, DTM Mohammed Nazir. May I please request the timer? Dr. Veena Nagraj, can you tell us the time taken by the 2 individual evaluators we had today?
First evaluator, DTM Kuram Salman, has taken 3 minutes 28 seconds, and the second evaluator, DTM Mohammed Nazir, 3 minutes 50 seconds. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. So we do have 1 time disqualification and 1 is qualified. So we'll not be having a voting. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Veena Nagraj. Please give her a big round of applause for playing the role so well. Now, about the 2 speakers quickly, wonderful speeches. It was an honor for all of us to witness 2 of the finest speakers we have in our beautiful island, DTM Hisham Jeffrey and Toastmaster Roshan Lewis. Wonderful speeches, complete speeches, I must say. Suggestions given by the two evaluators are very valid, and those suggestions will definitely help you do even better. An apple, a speech on an apple, wow. This is the only fruit I eat and I love. So it was really, it felt good to know more about my good friend Apple. I loved how the speakers were well dressed. This is something which I have been facing. I believe it's an issue with the speakers when they deliver the speeches. They believe it's virtual, so they don't have to dress up. They don't have to. They can present in their short. They can just put on a shirt. But I still believe, even in the virtual space, your dress code does matter. So wonderful job with that, DTM Hisham and Toastmaster Roshan Davis. I loved how you played with the PowerPoint presentation, how creative it was. Toastmaster Roshan, so much to learn from you. You're accepting the challenges and playing with it. Very well done with that. Moving to the keynote speaker, a lot of experience we are talking about. Toastmaster Raghuram, not Toastmaster, Mr. Raghuram. He shared his experience back in India, in the Gulf, and in the Africa. It was very well developed. He covered 3 main points, and many of the things which we were having questions in our minds were covered very well by him. Moving to the panel discussion, the panel moderator, our panel moderator, Toastmaster Roshan Lewis, along with the panelists, very experienced, Nufal Swedi, Saleh Ansari, along with the keynote speaker, Raghuram. They covered all the points wonderfully, along with the support of our panel moderator. Very well done. He covered all the question answers and summarized their speeches, their answers very well. Toastmaster Roshan, really wonderfully done. I was really impressed by the answers which were given by 3 panelists, considering every single aspect regarding related to the questions. So really a lot to learn from the panel discussion which we had today. If they are still around, thank you so much for presenting to us and answering our questions. Moving back, after the presidential address, the introduction of our very beloved leader, Toastmaster on this island, Toastmaster Nagendra, our master of the ceremonies, was introduced. He introduced the theme straight away, did talk on the speech, along with and ending with the Dr. Ralphie Medley's words with his introduction speech. Very neat and creative presentation slides, once again used by Toastmaster Nagendra. Whenever I visit his home club or the club he's presenting, it's always good to see he's trying something new. And today itself, I was like, where is Toastmaster Nagendra? There's a presentation slide. Oh, there he is. He's covering it, everything. So very well done with that. Very neat and very well done with the introduction of the role play. This is something which makes and breaks the speech or the role player. So I always encourage the master of the ceremonies to make the introduction of the next role player very creative and interesting. So you did your homework and you made sure that everyone is given the due importance and the respect when you're introducing. Well done with that. The timer explained, Dr. Weena explained the timer's report, the grammarian and the R counter. They explained their roles in the beginning very well. Overall, it was a wonderful meeting. There are a few suggestions which I would like to give on this platform, because we are DTM Toastmasters Club, and many of the people who come to our meeting, they want to see why we are different. So there are a few suggestions for the leaders of the house I would be giving quickly. I would request the VPPR of the club president, to promote the meetings at the platform, international platforms we are having on Facebook and other social media channels. Like today, even though we had a good number of audience, I still believe there are many out there who would have taken benefit for such great panel discussion which we were having today. So if we are having only one meeting a month, and meetings like these should be promoted on international level, so we get more and more audience, everyone can get benefit, and our local heroes would get an opportunity to speak with in front of everyone. So that's for the VPPR and the VP Education and the club president. The guest introduction was really nice and welcoming. However, it was very lengthy. I must say we need to find a solution to that. We were over 6 minutes late when we were at the guest introduction itself. The quorum was approved. However, the Madam Secretary should mention how many members are there and how many members are present, so that could help the guests and even the members who are not aware of the total number of members we are having. Once again, it's a good thing to be reminded that we are only having 20 members or we are having 18 members. So the members or the guests would think like, oh, we need to increase the membership of this club. The minutes of the previous meetings were not mentioned or approved during the meeting. That should have been done in the meeting today itself. And another suggestion for the Madam Secretary is, because we are having a 1 month gap in meetings, it's better if we share the minutes of the meeting at least 3 or 4 days before rather than a bit late today. I believe it was a bit late when the minutes of the previous meeting were shared. So many of the members would be getting ready for their roles or might be busy. 1 hour or 1.5 hours shouldn't be appropriate. A minute of the feedback should be given for the speaker. The speeches were wonderful. However, we were not given time. I was writing the comments. We got the introduction of the second speech evaluator. If the master of the ceremony is going forward or the VP Education gets put 1 minute of silence after every speech. So we do write our comments for the speakers and our feedbacks. Overall, it was a wonderful meeting. I learned a lot as a Toastmaster, as an individual. It was kudos to all the people who worked behind that. One last thing which we have to work on is the time. This is our second meeting and we are going overtime. We need to find out a solution for that, because the members and the guests who are there in the meeting, they keep on leaving the meeting. It is not a good sign. We started at 20, 30 members would reach, and now we are at 22 because we are overtime. Lastly, I would like to request the grammarian and the accountant Master Amanda Rebo. Can you please give us your report?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Let me first give the accountant's report. I'm very happy to say that there was no such gap fillers today, just 5 gap fillers, which was the word "are" used. So that shows how great our speakers were. And then let me move on to the grammarian's report. There wasn't any grammatical errors that I found today, because all the speakers, the evaluators, were great speakers and there was no grammatical errors found. But unfortunately, the word of the day perception was used only twice by the 2 speakers. Distinguished Toastmaster Hisham Jeffrey used few triads, for example, big, tall, and strong. And then he used beautiful quotes such as, a picture paints 1,000 words. Words can paint 1,000 pictures. We earn to live. We don't live to earn. Also, Toastmaster Roshan used a quote, an apple a day keeps a doctor away. So that's my report for today. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amanda. With this, my session comes to an end. I have covered all the points. And after the meeting, this is what I do as a general evaluator. I'll speak with the Mr. President. I'll share more of my thoughts about the meeting, but we are doing really well. Good job, everyone. Lastly, once again, I would like to commend the role played by our amazing Master of Ceremonies. Ladies and gentlemen, I would request each and everyone to give him a big round of applause, Toastmaster Nagendra. And with this, back to you, Master of the Ceremonies.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Jahangir. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, if you want to become a better communicator and a leader, Toastmasters is a great place to do it. For a very nominal fee, your takeaways, competencies, friendships will increase 100-fold. I know mine did. I joined Toastmasters to overcome fear of speaking, and I'm enjoying my journey for the networking, friendship, servant leadership opportunities, and the fun of getting together with my Toastmaster friends and meetings and elsewhere. The time commitment for Toastmasters is up to you. It is self-paced and learn by doing program. And you tailor your own experience based on what you get out of the Toastmasters. So our guests tonight, don't be like me and wait 12 hours to find out what it's all about. Today, you have all witnessed all you can learn in just 120 minutes. Join any Toastmasters club and who knows, like me, you might wind up pleasantly surprised to gain even more than you expected. With that, I now request our President, distinguished Toastmaster Khalid Jalal, to adjourn the meeting. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Nagendra Sitaram, and all the speakers, role players, and all our guests who are still here with us and who left. It was really amazing meeting today. I really enjoyed every bit of it. Just few things. I know we are running out of time, so just few things I want to mention to our members. We have circulated a survey, so please, if you have not completed the survey, please go through the link and complete the survey for the mentor-mentee assignee roles. That's important for our club to develop ourselves. And our membership will get in touch with you regarding the next meeting shortly after this meeting, maybe from next week onwards.
Yes, Mr. President.
And he will also would like to have all the nominations from you for the contest, because this is a contest season and we need to be ready for the contest if you are interested to participate. Coming to VP Education, want to say something?
Yes, Mr. President, with your permission, I wanted to announce that our next meeting, our first meeting was 10/10/2020, so our next meeting is 12/12/2020. So all the distinctions are with distinguished Toastmasters. Best of luck.
Thank you very much. So 10/10 and 2020, we should not miss 2020.
Yeah, this is 12/12.
So please get in touch with our VP Education for the contest. It's important for us to participate. We want to participate from this club. Now we have few guests still with us, so let me hear from our guests the feedback. If anybody wants to share the feedback quickly, we still have 2 minutes. I will not go with names. If anybody wants to share any feedback, any comments, any improvements area, please unmute yourself and speak. The count of 3.
Okay, I would like to share with you. Yes, a meeting was more than amazing. Actually, it was a very spectacular meeting, and as your club name implies, this is what I sensed. This is what I saw. My perception, using the word of the day. So it was a really great, distinguished. You are indeed distinguished Toastmasters. And just like I think it was the general evaluator who said, you really need to share your meetings on YouTube. I would suggest that because you're truly professional. And, a lot of people would like to learn from Toastmasters. And I think you're the perfect club to give this perfect and awesome image that would encourage people to join Toastmasters. I wish you, every single one of you, the very, very best. Toastmaster Nagendra, I think his name is, that was really amazing, being the master of the day. I'm truly speechless. Learned a lot from you. The speakers, the panel discussion was over awesome. So I wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hilda. If somebody else wants to still say something, we're already at 9:40. The count of 3. 1, 2, 3. No one is nominating to say anything. So with that, I adjourn the meeting of today. Thank you very much. Everyone have a great rest of the evening.
Can we have a group photo, all videos on, please?
Yes,
yeah.
sure. Thank you for joining us, DTM Abdul Nabi. Ibrahim.
All videos on? Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Can you have your video on so we can have you in our...
Yeah, sorry, because I was on another meeting, so I could not give my, recommendation on the meeting, but I just came actually to the seaside. I'm here a little bit dark. Otherwise, it's wonderful place on the seaside. After finished my meeting, and I apologize that I was not able to give any recommendation or suggestion because I was not with you all the way down. But I popped in just to see. In the message that I have received, it is mentioned 4 p.m. Up to 7 p.m. How come the timing is changed or something? I don't know.
I think 4 to 7 was another club, Bahrain, I think.
Our club.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, maybe so many messages. It's always 7:30.
So many messages, so many invitations that, totally confused. But anyway, I know that I can see professional DTMs you have in your meetings. Of course, you are all qualified, and I salute you all for such wonderful meeting. I congratulate you. I can feel that it was really successful meeting. All the best for all XCOM as well as those who were behind such a wonderful meeting. Back to you.
Thank you very much, DTM Abdul Nabi. Have you taken the photo shoot?
Yes, done. Thank you, President.
Thank you very much. Please enjoy the rest of the day. Keep wearing your mask if you go outside. And if you don't have anything outside, please stay in house. All the best and good night.
Good night.
Welcome, Toastmaster Ahmed Salih Al Baluchi. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry. First of all, good evening, everybody. And I apologize for